New Orleans, 1918. A city pulsated with life, but shadows lurked in every corner. Jazz music, vibrant and new, spilled from every doorway. But beneath the joyous tunes, a darkness festered. The Great War raged across the ocean, casting a pall over the city. And in the French Quarter, whispers of a different kind of terror began to spread. Whispers of the Axeman. The French Quarter, with its wrought iron balconies and gaslit streets, held its breath. A killer stalked the night, his weapon of choice as brutal as it was unexpected. An axe. He moved through the darkness, a phantom preying on the unsuspecting. His victims, mostly Italian grocers, bore the mark of his gruesome calling card, deep gashes inflicted with chilling precision. The first attack, brutal and sudden, sent shockwaves through the city. It was a night that would forever change the fabric of New Orleans, a city already rich with history and mystery. Joseph Maggio, a grocer, and his wife Catherine were found murdered in their beds. They were well known in their neighborhood, their store a staple for many. Their throats slashed, their faces disfigured by the Axeman's blade. The scene was gruesome, a testament to the killer's ruthlessness. The brutality of the crime shocked even the most hardened detectives. These were men who had seen their fair share of violence, yet nothing could have prepared them for this. The killer had left behind a calling card, the bloody axe, abandoned at the scene. It was a chilling signature, a mark of his presence. Panic spread like wildfire through the streets of New Orleans. People whispered about the Axeman in hushed tones, fear gripping their hearts. The Axeman, as the press dubbed him, became a nocturnal nightmare, a bogeyman whispered about in hushed tones. His name was on everyone's lips, a dark legend in the making. Families bolted their doors, fearing that they might be next. The sense of security that once blanketed the city was now shattered. The police, under immense pressure to apprehend the killer, launched a full-scale investigation, but the Axeman remained elusive. The killings continued, each one more terrifying than the last. Louis Basuma and his mistress, Anna Lowe, met a similar fate. Their lives too were cut short by the Axeman's merciless hand. Again, the axe, wielded with brutal efficiency. It was as if the weapon itself was an extension of the killer's malevolent will. Again, the lack of any real leads. The detectives were left grasping at straws, their frustration mounting with each passing day. The city of New Orleans was trapped in a macabre dance with a phantom, the music a chilling symphony of fear and uncertainty. Each night the city held its breath, waiting for the Axeman's next move. Fear, palpable and suffocating, descended upon New Orleans, casting a dark shadow over the city. The city, known for its joyous spirit and vibrant culture, became a place of whispers and suspicion, where neighbors eyed each other warily. People avoided going out at night, fearing the unknown dangers lurking in the darkness. The sound of footsteps echoing on the cobblestones was enough to send shivers down their spines, a constant reminder of the lurking threat. The once vibrant nightlife of the French Quarter dwindled, replaced by an uneasy quiet that settled over the streets like a heavy fog. The Axeman's reign of terror had an almost supernatural quality, as if he were a phantom moving through the night. He seemed to appear and disappear at will, leaving behind a trail of blood and terror. The police were baffled, unable to predict his next move. They followed every lead, investigated every rumor, but the Axeman always seemed to be one step ahead, eluding capture time and time again. Rumors swirled like the mists over the Mississippi, growing more fantastical with each retelling. Some whispered that the Axeman possessed supernatural powers, that he could move unseen through the night, slipping through the shadows like a ghost. Others claimed he was a vengeful spirit, seeking retribution from beyond the grave, a specter of vengeance haunting the living. In the absence of concrete answers, fear and superstition filled the void, creating an atmosphere of dread that permeated every corner of the city. Just when the city thought the terror couldn't escalate, the Axeman sent a letter. It was a moment that would forever be etched in the annals of New Orleans' dark history. Addressed to the esteemed mortuary, it was a chilling confession and a bizarre promise all in one. The letter was not just a mere communication, it was a proclamation of his reign of terror. The letter, published in the Times-Picayune newspaper, sent chills down the spines of every citizen. The words seemed to leap off the page, each sentence more horrifying than the last. The Axeman wrote with chilling eloquence, claiming responsibility for the murders and promising more bloodshed. His words were a macabre symphony, orchestrated to instill fear and dread. But within the darkness of his words, there was a glimmer of something even more unsettling, a fascination, an obsession with jazz music. This unexpected twist added a surreal layer to the already terrifying narrative. The Axeman declared his love for jazz, promising to spare the lives of anyone in a home where a jazz band was playing. This bizarre condition left the city in a state of confusion and fear. He even specified that he wanted to hear jazz music at its best. The city's jazz clubs and musicians suddenly found themselves at the center of a deadly game. The city held its breath. The night of the Axeman's deadline approached, and the air was thick with tension. Was this a madman's delusion, a cruel joke? Or was there a deeper, more sinister plan at play? Or was there a twisted logic to his words, a method to his madness? The authorities were baffled, and the citizens were left to ponder their fate. The Axeman's letter, a chilling blend of arrogance and insanity, only deepened the mystery surrounding him. It was a haunting reminder that the terror was far from over, and the city of New Orleans would never be the same again. Section 5. A glimmer of hope in the darkness. The Axeman's bizarre ultimatum had an unexpected effect on New Orleans. Jazz, once the soundtrack to the city's vibrancy, became its shield against terror. The city's numerous jazz clubs, once facing scrutiny and the threat of closure, were suddenly packed every night. Families hired jazz bands to play in their homes, the music spilling out onto the streets, a desperate serenade to ward off evil. The sound of trumpets and trombones filled the air, a defiant act of resistance against the darkness that had descended upon the city. The Axeman's love for jazz, however twisted, had offered a lifeline. But it was a lifeline laced with fear. The music, once a source of joy, now carried the weight of survival. Every note played was a prayer, a plea for mercy from a phantom who danced to the rhythm of his own deadly tune. Section 6. Jazz music, a sinister soundtrack. The Axeman's fascination with jazz added another layer of complexity to his chilling persona. Was it a genuine love for the music, or was he toying with the city, using their beloved jazz as a tool of manipulation? The question haunted investigators and citizens alike. Some speculated that the Axeman himself was a musician, someone who understood the intricacies of jazz and found a perverse inspiration in its rhythms. Others theorized that he was drawn to the music's raw energy, its ability to evoke both joy and pain, reflecting the duality of his own twisted nature. Whatever the reason, jazz had become inextricably linked to the Axeman's reign of terror. The music, once a symbol of New Orleans' vibrant spirit, now carried a sinister undertone, a reminder that even in the midst of beauty and joy, darkness could lurk. Section 7. The investigation: a race against time. The New Orleans Police Department, overwhelmed and outmaneuvered, faced mounting pressure to stop the Axeman. The investigation, hampered by dead ends and false leads, became increasingly desperate. Every clue seemed to lead to a dead end. Every witness offered conflicting accounts. Detectives interviewed hundreds of suspects, from disgruntled citizens to underworld figures. They followed every lead, no matter how far-fetched, hoping for a break in the case. But the Axeman, like a phantom, remained elusive. The investigation became an obsession, consuming the lives of those involved. They worked tirelessly, fueled by coffee and the grim determination to stop the Axeman before he could claim another victim. But as time went on, the trail grew colder, and the fear in the city only intensified. Section 8. The Axeman vanishes, an enduring mystery. Then, as suddenly as it began, the terror ceased. The Axeman, the phantom who had held New Orleans captive in a grip of fear, vanished. The music played on, but the silence of the Axeman's axe was deafening. The city, still reeling from the ordeal, slowly began to breathe again. Despite numerous suspects and theories, the Axeman's identity remains a mystery to this day. Was he a cunning criminal who managed to evade capture, or did something else, something more sinister, fuel his reign of terror? The questions lingered, unanswered, adding to the legend of the Axeman. The Axeman's disappearance only deepened the mystery. Some whispered that he had met his demise, his reign of terror brought to an end by an unknown force. Others believed he had simply moved on, seeking new prey in a different city, his thirst for blood never truly quenched. Section 9. Legacy of Terror. New Orleans remembers. The Axeman's reign of terror may have ended, but his presence lingered in the soul of New Orleans. He became a part of the city's dark folklore, a cautionary tale whispered from generation to generation, a reminder that even in the most vibrant of cities, shadows lurk. The Axeman's story continues to fascinate and horrify, a testament to the enduring power of mystery. He remains an enigma, a phantom forever etched in the annals of New Orleans history. And in the heart of the French Quarter, when the jazz music fades and the shadows grow long, some say you can still hear the echo of his axe, a chilling reminder of the city's brush with a darkness it could never truly escape.